The heliocentric theory was first presented by Nicholas Copernicus. This theory presented the sun as the center of the universe and the planets orbiting around it. The heliocentric theory challenged the geocentric theory proposed by Aristotle, which is the belief that the Earth is the center of the universe and that all other objects orbit around it instead. Aristotle's celestial sphere proposed that the heavens were composed of 55 concentric crystalline spheres to which the celestial objects were attached and then rotated at different velocity, but the angular velocity would be constant for a given sphere, with the Earth at the center of it. The geocentric theory was supported by the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church chose to adopt the geocentric model because Ptolemy offered the most mathematical support for the geocentric model, and it did not conflict with biblical understanding of the universe. During the 1600s, when the heliocentric was introduced, the Catholic Church was the legal authority of the land and prime source that provided all the knowledge that was needed to know about the universe, and anybody who was deemed to have gone against the Catholic Church was labeled a heretic and burned at the stake. Copernicus first described his heliocentric system in the Commentaries, a short untitled anonymous manuscript that he distributed to his friends. Copernicus' seminal work on the heliocentric theory was put into his book De Revolutionis, but he delayed the publication of it. Although refusing to publish his book at the time, Copernicus did allow a pupil of his to publish a summary account of it in 1540. Despite its conflict with the Bible and Aristotelians everywhere rejecting the idea that Earth could actually be in motion, the book did acquire a small amount of followers. The reason why the heliocentric theory was disliked by the church so much was because it undermined the teaching of the church and what is stated in the Bible. Some verses from the Bible that it contradicted were the following. Tycho Brahe rejected the Ptolemaic system because it was incompatible with his observation on parallax measurements for the 1577 comet. But because of his belief in the Bible and a lack of stellar parallax, prevented him from fully accepting the Copernicus heliocentrism. Therefore, as a compromise, he advanced his only theory, the Tychonic theory, where all the planets but Earth orbited the sun. Although the Roman Catholic Church vigorously opposed heliocentric cosmology and persecuted the thinkers who believed in it, there were still thinkers that stand behind it or improved it more. Ernest Reinhold, one of the earliest supporters of the Copernican system, with his extensive correction to the De Revolutionis and the Tabula Pertinacea for the first set of practical planetary table based on Copernicus' theory, provided a strong argument in favor of Copernicus. Galileo supported heliocentrism with the help of his telescope. Galileo's discovery of the 4 moons orbiting Jupiter contradicted the widely held belief that Earth was the center of rotation for all celestial bodies. Also, before Galileo's observation of the satellites of Jupiter, it had been argued that if Earth really moved around the sun, it would somehow lose the moon. Galileo also discovered sunspots and phases of Venus. This was a great boost for the theories of Copernicus because if Venus moved around the sun, then so might the Earth. In the hope of convincing more people he was right, Galileo set off for Rome in March 1611. This visit was a huge success that granted him a meeting with Pope Paul V, and the Jesuits at the college honored him with a special conference and confirmed that his observations were true. Frederick Sessi, who attended the conference, elected Galileo to the Licencian Academy, meaning that Galileo can now add the title Licenciate after his signature. But things weren't all perfect from there because for Galileo, trouble was just starting around the corner. In December 1516, Galileo went to Rome hoping to persuade church leaders to agree with him and his ideas, but it was all in vain. In February 1616, Pope Paul V asked the senior panel of cardinals to investigate the idea of Copernicus, and they decided that his ideas were wrong and against the teaching of the church. So Galileo was ordered not to spread the ideas of Copernicus as if they were facts. Galileo's new book, The Dialogue of the Two Principal Systems of the World, also stirred up trouble because the argument in the book was in no doubt won by the supporters of Copernicus. To some in the church, this was just a step too far. In September 1632, sales of Galileo's book were banned, and he was ordered to Rome to face the Inquisition. The trial began on April 12, 1633, and dragged on until June 22, 1633. The final session of the trial began on June the 21st, and Galileo was finally found guilty for encouraging the belief that the earth moved around the sun. Galileo was sentenced to imprisonment, but with his supporters pleading for him not to be treated too harshly, he was instead put under house arrest in his home in Florence. He wasn't allowed to leave, see friends, teach students, or publish books. Galileo's last great project was during his house arrest, the discourse and mathematical demonstration concerning two new sciences pertaining to mechanics and locomotion. But of course he had a problem. He was still under house arrest and was forbidden to publish any new work. Although he was under close watch, pages of his new book were slipped out and taken northwards. The book was finally published in 1638, but by 1638 Galileo was completely blind and was helped by a new secretary, who took notes for him and read letters and helped him in many ways. After coming down with a fever, he became very ill and died on January 8, 1642 at the age of 77. It wasn't until after Galileo's death that he was honored and remembered for all his great work and discoveries. He wasn't given a proper burial ground until 1737, when he was honored a grand tomb. In 1892, the University of Pisa ordered Galileo the degree he had failed to gain in 1585. It wasn't until 1992, after a 13-year debate that covered the conflict between science and faith, that Pope John Paul II formally closed the Catholic Church's case against Galileo, admitting that a mistake was made. The heliocentric theory has paved the way for modern science and has helped us discover and improve our knowledge of the universe. Because of the heliocentric theory, we have landed our first man on the moon, learned about the laws of gravity, showing the tugging forces that hold the planets in their paths around the sun.